Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. It's time to get fired up. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe. Please rate and review the program. I'm your host, Wayne Blue. Once again, Blake Murphy. Hope you're enjoying. How many days are you going to spend on the beach, man? You know, you gotta take care of yourself, buddy. But seriously, I hope he is recharging. He's resting.
Yep.
He's studying. He's probably watching spring training.
Yeah,
You know
getting
what I mean?
ready for the Jays, right?
Yeah. So in the meantime, we continue to have a rotating cast of friends, co-hosts. S back for second day in a row.
Day 2.
How you feeling, man? What was the reception after day 1?
Good, man. A lot of people were happy with it, you know, happy that I was going to be able to kind of do this and talk on this show, talk with you, you know, vibe out a little bit. It was cool.
You already gassed me up yesterday. You know, I was just...
You want me to get
No, not every day. Not every day. Don't worry. But, no, I appreciate
it's good, man. It's been a lot of fun to do this. Yeah.
It has been. And we were able to, after the show yesterday, catch a ride with you to go down to see Raptors Mavericks.
Yes.
And, I mean, the Mavericks got some true hoopers on their team.
Man.
That was my big takeaway was Luka and Kyrie, man. Okay, give me your thoughts. I already did the reaction podcast. Raptors lose last night, 136-125 against the Dallas Mavericks. What did you see overall from the game?
Man, I mean, just getting to the game, the atmosphere there for Luka's birthday was just wild to see. The fans,
There's
you
a lot
saw
of
it
pregame
too.
fans.
It was an insane amount of
A lot of Mavericks jerseys.
You said it in the React podcast, but there's levels to the fame of superstardom, and Luka and Kyrie are just at a different tier when it comes to just the attention that they get.
I saw a grown 50-year-old man wear long leggings, shorts, a jersey, headband,
the whole attire,
the hat. You saw that guy right too. He was standing behind us.
Yeah.
And with a cape.
Yes,
all Mavericks gear.
Yeah,
all there for Luka.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and he was at least 50.
He was an older dude.
Yeah, I feels like he could have stand another player in his lifetime before that. Like he could have been like a Magic stand,
a Dirk fan, and then he's transitioned to a Luka fan or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy, and I got stuck in the tunnel when Luka was leaving after his warm-ups, and so everybody there was asking for jerseys, and he literally went and signed every single jersey.
That's
Everybody
nice.
was screaming, "Happy birthday, Luka! Happy birthday!" And it's cool to see that side of him, right? Because I think some people can be hot or cold on Luka for the most part. Because
I mean, it depends on him. Sometimes he's very temperamental and he complains about calls and he looks miserable playing. And other times he looks like what he did last night, which was
incredible.
I'm going to try to do stuff that is going to entertain. And ultimately, it's an entertainment product. And he's at that level where he's so good, where he's like, I can just go and make a highlight for you guys.
Yeah,
because I'm also going to beat you too.
And it wasn't even the best Luka game. He missed threes. He's been cooking from three all year.
1 of 8 last night. The Raptors really should have capitalized on that. Except he still had a 30-point triple-double.
16 assists, and it felt he had 7 or 8 of those assists in the first quarter. He was doing it just basically off of creating advantages. Guys are digging into all of the drives, sending tons of help. The Raptors, I think, for the most part, stayed really aggressive to start the game. And then once that aggression kind of went away in the second half, it was just easy pickings for Luka to take care.
It's incredible. I mean, he had 3 and 1s last night.
Yeah.
He also, every time he turned the corner, and,
that one on Ochai where he bit on the pump fake and then he just let it fly.
Luka was like, I'm going to take a step back, long two, fade away with a foot on the line.
Yeah.
And Ochai's like, nope, I can't let you have that. I'm actually going to foul you. And he still made the shot through the bump. It's incredible. I just felt like anytime he was able to turn the corner, it was either a lob or some sort of and one for Luka. He's also so strong as well. He doesn't, I don't know. I mean, what did you make of the Raptors' overall approach guarding him?
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough task, right? And we talked about this yesterday before the game. It was just what is the identity of this team when it comes to guarding stars like that? Just because they don't have that stopper now. For a very long time, it was, okay, we're going to just, OG Anunoby is the Band-Aid to all these situations. We're just going to throw him onto the main guy. True. And now there isn't that main guy. Scotty took the assignment to start the game, but again, they threw tons of help at him. They were sending a lot of just especially on drives. If there was a pick and roll, they were immediately sending 2, forcing him to pass the ball. And I think that worked for the most part. But then you saw PJ Washington, who poured in 23 points.
Because that was BS, man. I'm sorry. PJ Washington, he had not been like that.
How many threes did he hit? He had 5 threes last night.
5 threes, 23 points. PJ Washington.
Best game as a Maverick, by the way, so far. So
I'm sick of this, man. Look, okay, 23 against the Raptors last night, right? 11 against the Cavs.
Yep.
2 against the Pacers. 12 against the Suns. 3 against the Spurs, 9 against the Wizards, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Last time he played, last time he played the Raptors, he was member of the Hornet, but he was 6 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Either
Thanks,
way,
PJ.
it's so hard to game plan for the Mavericks when they're staggering Luka and Kyrie's minutes, and so you have to deal with one behemoth and Luka, and then your game plan completely changes when you're trying to guard Kyrie. Mm-hmm. And with Kyrie, it's like the approach is completely different. You can send help, but he's going to be able to evade and use his quickness and just yo-yo his way through the basket to the basket. That's what makes him so tough. And I think moving forward, like how the Raptors are able to approach guarding these heliocentric, crazy scoring types is going to be the name of the game defensively. I thought their starters still did pretty well on the defensive end. Ish, right?
Yeah, as good as you can do. Relatively, relatively for sure. Second unit for sure was not guarding, though.
That's what I wanted to bring up mostly.
Okay.
I think the second unit was the biggest problem from last night's game, just because in that first quarter, Raptors were up, and then Daniel Gafford kind of came into the game. Raptors bench subbed in, and Gafford just destroyed at second chance points, inside.
Backs, rolls to the basket,
Yeah, and
physicality.
Kelly Olynyk, I think he had 0 rebounds yesterday. And it's just, it's tough to have that type of situation. I know Bruce Brown kind of made up for it with 8 himself, but I think you need that physicality.
Did he make up for it?
That's another
Raptors
conversation.
Twitter has found a new person.
Yes, another person to blame for all the problems.
You and your cowboy hats right now are on trial.
Let's get Lindsay back on. Let's get the cowboy hats vibes back going.
I don't know if they want to do that cowboy segment today.
I think that's going to be a big issue. Second unit, because the first unit the starters have figured out something defensively in terms of what they're trying to achieve.
Right.
They're not going to be able to achieve it every night, but with the second unit, there's so much of a lack of size, and that creates issues in itself when you're facing bigs like Daniel Gafford, when you're facing bigs like, I don't know, even with the Hawks game, like Clint Capella is going to be an issue, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something moving forward that you got to watch and how they approach that.
I think, they're asking Scott to do a lot for that second unit because, in terms of who's supposed to be rebounding for that group, I mean, Kelly can do a better job than getting 0 rebounds, of course, but Kelly's 32 and he's never been like the most athletic guy. He's not on the court for that.
Yeah.
So what they really need is for the other guys to clean up, Scotty in particular,
Bruce,
Grady, Bruce, those kind of guys, Ochai in a bit. But the thing is, they're also doing a really good job that second unit of playing in transitions. So you also see a lot of times where guys are a little eager to leak out, things like that. There's got to be a collective effort, especially against bigger bodies like that. And of course, last time they played the Mavs, they didn't even have Daniel Gafford or PJ Washington. The Raptors actually beat the Mavs this year. So it's not like it's impossible to beat them. But, there are going to be these matchups that I think are going to be interesting. I think for the second unit for the Mavs, too, I think, the Raptors' second unit has been really good. And we talked about that earlier, about how, there's like a, they just come in and move the ball really well.
They have their own identity, right?
They got their own thing, right? But they couldn't get their own thing off yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was the Mavericks did a really good job of switching a lot of off-ball actions or just zoning up on, the other side. And they just did a really good job of taking away a lot of, the actions involving Grady and Kelly and those plays that we've highlighted the last couple of days. Having said that, though, I also feel like, okay, that's fine if you want to, switch a lot or zone up a lot of all the weak side actions. But how about then you just put Grady screening on the ball and create more advantages there? And I think that a couple times when Grady did screen for the ball,
they had success.
Success. I just don't know why they didn't do more of it. So what did you make of the offensive execution for the second unit last night?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with the zoning up aspect. Just the fact that they were able to take away some of those off-ball actions, especially with Grady.
And the Mavs did a good job communicating too. Like they were actually pretty diligent defensively, which is not typically what you would say with Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. I think that second unit for Dallas has actually improved post-trade deadline, like with PJ and they're throwing PJ in there more. They didn't play Maxi Kleber last night, but he actually plays really great defense for them too. And just their size in general makes it a little bit tougher. Also, this is something that's going to happen as teams start to get used to the whole high post actions with Jakob or Kelly making those passes to cutters. It's like, why not just give space? Like Kelly can space the floor a little bit and make that shot, but you might want to live with that over getting back cut to death like the Pacers did.
For
So some of these guys, Gafford is giving him space, or PJ Washington is giving Jakob space, and that makes it a little bit more difficult to get those cutting actions going. What's the counter? How are you going to be able to, I guess, find something else offensively that works? And that's a wrinkle that the identity of that second unit has to work through. Wanted to ask you about something else.
Go ahead.
The margin of error for this game felt so much smaller than any other game they've played. Talent-wise, obviously, the Mavericks were the most talented team they faced post-All-Star break. No disrespect to the Pacers. I think the Pacers
they're more talented.
They're working things out. The Mavericks are like, they could, if all things go well, make a really deep run in the playoffs type of thing. Maybe.
I mean, they got Luka. Honestly,
exactly.
Luka single-handedly could do a lot of things. We've seen it already.
Question for you is, when that margin of error is so small for a developing team, whatever you want to call it, how much more important are those little mistakes? The turnovers in the third quarter, the missed free throws, the missed layup in transition, et cetera, et cetera. How much more important does that become?
Yeah, I think that's when the game got away from the Raptors. I would say the first half they played okay. I think defensively they were not unlucky, but I think at the same time they were, like you mentioned, forcing the ball out of Luka's hands. Didn't help that Tim Hardaway Jr. got so hot from three.
Yeah,
clearly he's a really good shooter, but like sometimes he's hit or miss. He was really, really hot for them last night.
Streaky guy, yeah.
At least in the first half. PJ Washington was knocking a whole bunch of threes, and then Gafford. I feel like those guys actually sustained a lot of Dallas's momentum in the first half when Kyrie was mostly manageable, and then Luka was passing. Second half, not only did Luka step into another gear, I think Kyrie took it in another gear. Again, these guys are vets; they know like how to do that and how to time
Pace
it.
Of course, the game and all that.
Yeah, like and they're so talented. They know like when to sort of hit the go button. But I think what didn't help the Raptors case was just they made a lot of mistakes. Third quarter, fourth quarter, just a lot of stuff. I mean, Grady caught that pass in the corner and two guys closed out on him, and he started to throw like an overhead one-handed pass, and he hooked it into his own backcourt, right? That was silly, right? Emmanuel quickly inbounding the ball to RJ. RJ wasn't looking, and it goes straight to Luka.
Yeah.
There's nothing other than just...
that transition pass from Scotty to IQ, and IQ fumbles it. Like, there's... Even the transition opportunity, Scotty pushes it up the floor, finds Bruce Brown, and then
he just smoked that layup.
He blew the layup.
He just smoked. It was a point blank layup, and it was a good play. There was another play where Scotty dribbled it up and tried to push the pace, and Luka was there. And Scotty ate the bump from Luka, but he lost the dribble, and that happens a couple times for Scotty. Like he will sometimes lose the dribble when he's dribbling that fast and it's a little high, and Luka didn't even swipe it. He just ate the bump, and then the ball came free, and he stole the ball. Yak got his fourth foul early in the third quarter as well, just reaching in on Luka at the three-point line. Not only is that a bad foul, but that's his fourth foul, so he had to go to the bench a little bit too. So I think all those little things, all those little mistakes, you think back of like, okay, Gary with the steal, he's on the fast break, and it's like, oh, we know how this is going to go.
We know how that story goes. Yeah.
So those things, like, when you're talking about being in a game with a team that's better than you, you have to actually ace those details.
Yeah.
And the Raptors just made way too many of those mistakes. I mean, whatever. Luka could have, I think he could have pushed it to a higher level even and matched whatever the Raptors are going to offer. But I think just way too many self-inflicted errors. What did you make of their second half? Because they did adjust, speaking to their defense for their second unit.
Yeah, I think, in that second half, instead of having Kelly in with the second unit, they swapped it and had Jakob be with that second unit. So just to provide a little bit more size with Daniel Gafford. And I think they actually achieved what they wanted to in terms of closing out possessions, getting the rebound, getting out and running. And now you can still sort of emulate that same style offensively that they can run with Kelly, except with Jakob in the high post making plays and whatnot. The one thing that, kind of keeps coming up here is that those mistakes kind of built up in that third quarter, and it gave Luka and Kyrie just a little bit of daylight to be able to take this game over.
Oh, yeah.
And they took advantage of that.
I mean, they fully felt in control the whole game.
Yeah.
The two of them both. I mean, it's just absurd, man. The Kyrie, the fact that you can't predict anything Kyrie does offensively is just, and it's not out of control. It's all, like, somehow he's practiced every single shot, but yeah, he's on the ball. He gets off the ball too.
So with Luka and Kyrie, it's like they play two completely different styles. Luka plays at like 0.25 speed, right? He plays as if he's 45 years old playing
He plays
basketball.
like bumper cars.
Yeah.
He's like the best Joe Ingles you've ever seen.
Yes, Joe Ingles is a good comp.
I'm not even kidding.
It's not even a disrespectful thing. He just plays like Joe Ingles if Joe Ingles was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And with that, that's a whole new bag of tricks that you got to deal with. And then with Kyrie, it's this. He plays like a yo-yo or a slinky, whatever you want to call it, any kind of like bouncing object. He just keeps going back and forth. He's trying to find these angles. He's incredible at getting to the rim and finishing. And so obviously he has the three-point shot and everything that he can do to create. It's such a tough task. And when you look at this Raptors team, it's funny because you mentioned the Mavs game, in November and how they dominated that game. Yeah. They dominated because of size, right? They were the bigger, better team, and now
they also didn't have Lively for that one, which really did help because Lively was.
That's another aspect to this. Yeah, I mean Lively. There were a couple goaltending calls that he had, and he could have had like 8 blocks in this game if those didn't count.
For a guy who's a true 7-footer, he gets off his feet remarkably fast.
Yeah.
Which is always a good combination for being a shot
People got mad at me. I said this online, but he reminds me of Tyson Chandler. Like he has that, bounce, kind of like even the way he hangs on the rim kind of reminds me of Dallas Mavericks Tyson Chandler. I don't know, man. Let me know, Raptors show. Let me know how y'all feel about that.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, everybody always wants to compare like players that they already knew within our organization. You know what I mean? So it's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's like when OG was here, we were like, I don't know, next Kawhi. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Man, but it's funny you bring up OG because that's sort of the type of guy they're missing on this team.
Oh,
and
totally,
and it's
they're
okay.
Missing him and Precious.
You gotta find that. But the size difference is something that's so drastic now. Mm-hmm. You see a team that was going Vision 6-9 in November and trying to develop, figure out this whole size and length aspect. Yeah. And now it's like Vision 6-3 with these guys trying to figure out how they can kind of cobble up defense to be able to keep their offense going. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different program. It's a completely different situation. Yeah. And I'm just interested to see how Darko is going to be able to approach this defensively.
Well, philosophy-wise, Darko and Nick are pretty opposite, I think, on most things. And one of the things for Nick was, like, if you can't guard, you can't get on the floor.
You can't play.
Yeah, right? And a lot of coaches are like that. It's not just Nick. But I think for Darko, he's taking this different approach where it's like, we want to make sure you can play on offense, like run, serve a role in the system, know how to pass, know whatever. And then we'll try to teach you defense. And actually, he talked about that earlier at practice just now. So I'll run this clip. But it was actually really interesting hearing him discuss the second unit in particular, where they're struggling, and why he actually doesn't mind that they're struggling.
So that second that you mentioned, scoring 125, the other end, that second unit, when you have Grady, Ochai, and who am I missing? Bruce. Like, those guys are physical, but they're not necessarily big guys like early on the wing. How can that group get itself to like good defensively or acceptable defensively? Because they don't have that sort of bump that you had at the beginning of the season.
So you can take a look at it with 2 different angles. Do we come up with coverages to try to protect them, or we actually expose them and make them become better? And I'm more leaning now that I want to expose those guys as much as possible. I think that Grady start of the season, he was the guy that everybody's going at. I think that he's holding his ground pretty well right now, and I think he can continue getting better in that aspect. Everything that we do, that I do, is thinking about playoffs and preparation, and for this year and for the future. And once the playoff games come, there's nowhere to hide. And you gotta be able at least to guard your position if you're not capable of guarding multiple positions. So I think right now for us is really getting enough information what those guys can do and areas where they need to improve and get better. So I want to push that player development, individual development ahead of necessarily schemes that are gonna cover for some limitations we have.
All right, Ez, what do you think of this idea that Darko is letting the team almost get cooked, but as a learning experience?
It makes sense in theory, because sometimes it can be good to expose players to things that they're not necessarily used to. We talk about this with guys like Scotty Barnes, throwing him into a more ball handling role, getting him to be point Scotty, whatever you want to call it, like giving him the usage, the touches he needs to develop and figure things out. He's going to have to see different coverages, all that. It sort of applies on the defensive end too, in the sense that you have to figure out how you're going to be able to guard these guys. And that's sort of what we've been talking about right now in terms of like Luka and Kyrie. It's like, how are they going to solve this puzzle of defending these type of players? And so from that perspective, from a developmental perspective, it makes sense. But at the same time, maybe there are ways to, like we said about that margin of error, you can close that gap a little bit by maybe just enhancing some of the things that can happen. An example for this, the Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson isn't the greatest defender in the world, but the Miami Heat use a zone defense whenever he subs into the game.
Yeah.
And they have Bam as that backline defender that kind of navigates everything else. They had guys like Kyle and Jimmy out there. Kyle's not there anymore, but, you know, for the most part, that's how they insulated Duncan Robinson so that they could use him offensively. That's just one way to do something like that. I'm not saying they have to go to a zone when the bench comes in, but it's an idea. And it maybe it's something that you can use to not only, you know, expose, I don't think expose is the right word here, but to try to enhance that second unit defensively. And then you can mix in exposing them to different looks developmentally on the defensive end, if that makes sense.
This is what wins and lessons looks like from a practical standpoint from coaching, right? You win, fantastic. You lose, it's a lesson. You get cooked, it's a lesson. Can't blame the coach, can't blame the player. It's a lesson.
Yes.
So
that's a great mentality.
It's a great mentality.
We have a bad show. It wasn't a bad show. It was a lesson.
We were developing S and Will. That's what we were doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Like, to a certain degree, yes, I want these guys to learn and grow. Some of those guys, I mean, like, come on. The second unit, Bruce and Kelly, they're vets in this league.
Yeah.
They don't need to grow and develop. Scotty's already played on a successful defensive team before.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he has no more development to go defensively, but, you know, I'm not looking at it that way. It's really just like Grady and Ochai. And Ochai has already come in the league with the reputation of being a stopper as well. Yeah. So
it's really just Grady.
It's just Grady, really.
And that's why I brought the Duncan Robinson example up. Because it's like, hey, if you want to find a way to insulate one single player, a zone makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think the Raptors can find ways to be effective with a zone in that second unit. I also am curious to see if they end up doing the Jakob-Kelly swap more often now.
I don't really want them to. No, like,
okay, fair.
Here's the thing. Like, I think a lot of it is contingent on, I think Kelly spacing the floor as a stretch five was kind of brought in to give Scotty more reps with a stretch five. So I don't necessarily want them to change the rotation really significantly to sort of plug that gap in particular. Honestly, I wouldn't mind sometimes where it's like Kelly and Jakob are on the floor at the same time, but we have never seen that look yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not really, banking on that one. Because it's interesting because it wasn't just that they brought in Jakob. They also brought in Quickly as well.
Yeah.
And Quickly and Jakob brought this extra dimension. And almost felt like, in a way, Darko was like, okay, we're down 10. Lucas hit the bench. Maybe we'll just put our best combo on the floor. And our best combo last night was Quickly. And Jakob. The other guy who was really good was RJ as well. And I don't know. The RJ shooting numbers are just getting funnier and funnier. Last 9 games for RJ Barrett as a Raptor. Last 9 games. He is shooting 47% from 3 on like almost 4 attempts per game, which is awesome. That's a great mark for him. 47%. Great mark for anybody, really.
Yeah.
From the foul line, where he's shooting about 5 a game, 51%. How is he shooting 4 percentage points better on free throws than on threes?
I have no idea. Like, also, it's not something you can like ask about, right? Hey, RJ, why are you missing your free throws? Isn't a good question to ask.
Sure, yeah.
And I also wonder, I don't know, is it like a Toronto Raptors curse or something? Because he was perfectly fine when he when he was in the Knicks for like the last 2 years. Soon as he put on a Raptors jersey, especially because the Raptors struggle from the free throw line as a team for the most part. I don't know. Like, what do you think it is when it comes to free throws? It's like a Bruce Bowen thing.
Yeah, it's an odd one. So you mentioned so as a rookie, he shot 61% from the foul line.
Yeah.
But then since then, he shot 75%, 71%, 74%. And then this past season with the Knicks, he was at 83%.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's shooting below 60 from free throw as a Raptor, and then also in the last 9 games, particularly shooting 51%, I think that it's a little concerning to me that he'll miss both.
And he did last night too, right?
Yeah. I think there are certain guys, like Jakob, for example, the one-handed foul shots. Like, I always feel like the first one, he's a little short, and then he adjusts, and then he shoots a little longer, and he makes it. But there's like a somewhat of a consistency there. I feel like RJ sometimes he's just like all or nothing, and that's a little scary. I don't really know what it is. I mean, it's a free throw. Like, just, he's not a terrible shooter across the board. I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't say he's a reliable shooter, but like sometimes, I mean, he's shooting 47% from three in the same stretch.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
What's the equation there in terms? Because usually people say a good free throw shooter turns into a good 3-point shooter, vice versa. That's not. I mean, at least in this stretch, it's not what's happening. Raptors, by the way, 29th in free throw percentage this season. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean,
75%.
And also, like, who do we have shooting the free throws for us, right? It was Pascal, who could be a little inconsistent.
OG was going through some struggles, too. Yeah.
OG was really going through some struggles. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, people always like to blame the Noah board. I mean, it's like, cool. I mean, I guess, yeah, sure. But I don't think that's the reason.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the reason either. Okay.
I think it's just statistical randomness, but it is kind of funny to look at.
It's also
weird, not funny, really.
It's also part of that margin, right? Because if they make their free throws last night.
Yeah, they missed 10 in an 11-point loss.
Yeah. It's a close game in the fourth quarter, and maybe things shake out differently. The other thing, by the way, it's like this team, its identity has changed so much so that, we've gotten used to a defensive-minded team that tries to cobble up offense enough to win.
It's the flip now. It's the reverse.
It's the complete opposite now. It's a team that's offensively dominant, but is just trying to cobble up defense enough to get them in the game.
I mean, I would say offensively fluid.
Sure.
Dominant is a little strong for this team. I mean, like, the Mavs, that's offensively dominant.
Yes.
But yeah, I hear you.
Offensively competent? Can we
totally more than competent. Yeah. They actually have an identity. They flow. But yeah, defensively they could still use some more work.
The other side of this is Quickly is still awesome.
He looks great, man. That was a great game for him yesterday.
And post All-Star break, he's been so much more comfortable. Talked about it in the recap last night too. Just the fact that they are using him more off ball, people will get mad at this comp. Again, it's not a comp, but some of the off-ball stuff that he does reminds me of Fred in the sense that he's relocating into space.
No.
If the ball is in the post, he's kind of shaking and kind of
really good at running to the ball now.
Yes.
Right? So Scotty's in the post or RJ's in the post. He runs to the ball.
Yeah, he's drifting to the corner, right? He had that shot last night that was really excellent, really timely too.
Yeah.
I think some of that stuff is just, it bends the defense in a way where this team desperately needs his off-ball shooting. And that's why Grady is so important too, because Grady provides that similar element off of the bench. And so those two guys are being used as screeners off of the ball, guys who can kind of, especially in transition, be these threats to relocate. And when you have the rim pressure of a Scotty, when you have the rim pressure of an RJ, those guys can get inside. And then once the defense kind of collapses in, you got IQ, you got Grady to make them pay. I really like the way they're using IQ.
Our team makes a lot of sense offensively now.
Yeah.
Just you got to figure out what they're doing defensively. And honestly, they've shown some good moments. We talked about it yesterday as well, but yesterday was a bad moment. Before we go to break, time now for the spicy stat of the day, brought to you by new Chunky Spicy Soup. Are you ready to get fired up? So last night we saw Luka here in Toronto.
Yeah.
He drops 30 points in a triple-double despite being double-teamed and blitzed all night. Regular night for him, honestly.
Yep.
He only shot 1 of 8 from 3, but again, he had 30 points. That actually brought his scoring average down on the season. Luka is leading the league in scoring at 34.4 points per game, and yet he's not even top 2 for MVP voting just yet. He's actually 3 behind Jokic and Shea. And honestly, the Jokic and Shea cases are quite solid as well. But just to put that in perspective, Luka scoring 34.4 points per game. Only 4 MVP winners in the history of basketball have scored more than Luka has this year, right? It's Wilt in 1960. He averaged 37.6. Michael Jordan in 88 when he averaged 35. That's the one that Anthony Edwards keeps saying. He's like, yeah, I'm like Jordan in 88. I'm like, I don't know, man. 35 is 35.
35's tough.
And that's error-adjusted 35. Kareem in 72 was at 34.8. And Bob McAdoo, all right, Mark Stein.
Shout out to Mark Stein's Bob McAdoo.
Yeah, for the Braves back in 75, averaged 34.5 points. Lucas had 34.4 points, and he may not win MVP this year.
Yeah.
That's how tough the race is. By the way, he's also averaging 9 rebounds and 10 assists. So
it's such a tough MVP race. And
dude, what else does he have to do if he's doing all this and he's still not like?
It's just the record. And I know it's crazy because the Mavs
we're talking about like 5 or 6 wins right now, man.
Yeah, but that's that. I mean, look, if you look at Shea and Luke and Jokic's numbers, their advanced numbers too.
Yeah.
I mean, Shea is like a 35-5 or 37-7 guy. He's leading the league in assists. Jokic just had a stretch where he averaged pretty much 20, 15, and 15.
Yeah.
And then he's doing it on crazy efficiency too. The metrics, both of those guys have improved defensively. And I think this is the part where, maybe Luka gets docked a little bit, is that he's nowhere near close a defender as Jokic and Shea. And it's not like those are high hurdles to even climb. Like Jokic and Shea have made these improvements defensively, but they're not.
So he's not getting MVP for you unless Luka plays some defense?
That and the record. Like OKC might win the West. Denver has a pretty good chance of winning the West. Yeah. I think it's tough to say Luka wins it, man.
I mean, 34.4 points is a lot of points.
It is.
He's also averaging triple-double.
Would you say Luka is your MVP then, right now?
I would put him equal to Jokic and Shea, cases wise. For me right now.
I can 100%.
Like, I would love to see the voting be kind of split. But anyway, we're going to take a break. I've been your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. When we come back, Tas Melas. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Will Lou. Continue to be joined by Esfandiar Baraheni. And we are joined on the line for segment 2 by Tas Melas of No Dunks. Tas, we were just having this vigorous debate during the last 5 minutes. Sorry we kept you waiting, man, but
I could see the passion in your eyes. I didn't know what you were saying, but it felt like a great conversation I wanted to listen to.
Oh, the conversation was, would you trade if you're San Antonio right now? Would you trade Wemby for Luka? And I think both of us were instantly like, nah.
I'm with you. I'm on the nah side.
Yeah.
Is there any player in the league that would make you consider that? I don't know.
Wow. What a difficult. Yeah, and immediately I say no. It's Wembanyama, who could literally be one of the top players ever to play the game, which is a strange thing to say just months into his career. But it feels right away. No, it doesn't feel like I would trade him for anybody. I thought you were going with a Raptor route, but no, the Wemby experience has been amazing.
Yeah, my favorite Wemby stat right now is and I just came up with this 10 seconds ago, literally, is he has 175 blocks on the season and 115 personal fouls. Right? Remember, for Kawhi as a rookie, or for Kawhi for a long time in his career, was like he had more steals than fouls, which was such an indication of how good of a defender he was. You're talking about a rookie walking this league.
He's blocking more shots than like 5 teams combined or something like that. I saw that stat the other day.
I gotta say, I love the blocks at first. That was really fun. I mean, he looks like he's playing with 6-year-old children at times. Like he's not jumping, right? That part is fun. But the other day when I watched him try and pull a Steph, where he pulled off a Steph where he shot a 3 and turned around before it went in.
Yeah.
Come on. Like now I'm starting to. It's like the offense is starting to come. The defense, is definitely going to be there. But if the offense comes, that's the whole other world. It's like
I just don't know, what is potential. The final product of Wemby, I have no idea.
Who are you going to compare him to? That's the thing. Like, there's not like a historical precedent. Like, you'll follow this path. Like, there's no this path. It's uncharted.
Yeah, it's completely uncharted territory.
He's an alien.
Okay, we would love to talk Wemby with you all day if possible, but. I have a quiz here, okay? And if people don't know, when I was on Raptors Republic, the first thing I did was do this little game show where I quizzed a bunch of media people about Raptors trivia and whatnot. And I thought it would be perfect to get you guys to do the exact same thing. What we are going to do, since you're the guest, Tas, I will allow you to pick a number between 1 and 10. You can pick the number. We'll go with that question.
It's like a magic trick.
If you
pick a card, slide it back into the deck, shuffle
If you get it wrong, this is Raptors trivia from all time, but I've tried to keep it recently relevant just to make it a little bit less difficult. Maybe I should have made it harder. I don't know.
No. That's good because I've seen the Raptors from 2004 onwards. So.
Okay. All right.
Tas is definitely gonna cook me on Phil Esposito.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. I was looking. Likely 95 to 98 would be my only advantage over Will. Otherwise, I'm dead.
Okay.
I don't know about that. Come on.
All right. So
6. Now give me a number 6.
6? Okay, number 6. All right. Oh, this is actually a really tough question, and it is related to. Okay, whatever. I'll do my voice for this. Okay. Grady Dick is currently shooting 38% from 3. Which Raptor holds the record for best 3-point percentage in their rookie season. Criteria.
Oh, in the rookie season. Oh,
must have attempted 100 threes in a season.
So, I mean, Taz is the guest.
Yeah,
so
Taz is the guest. Taz has to guess this. Yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
This is all you.
I told you, Will. I told you you're going to crush me.
I don't know about this, man. As a rookie?
To think of a rook, 38%. Oh,
it's tough.
Can you give it, is it the last decade or is it way earlier?
It is, you know what? I will give you a hint. It is in that range that you were mentioning earlier of where you might have an advantage with Will.
Man.
Who was shooting threes like that? Back in the day? Back in the day?
It wasn't.
Were they playing a Sky Dome? Like, how back in the day are we talking here, man?
We're not talking Damon. We're not talking T-Mac.
This guy shot 40% from three and attempted, which is crazy for his generation, 337 threes, 4.5 a game.
Yeah. So a late first-round pick, second-round pick, somebody that they drafted in the expansion draft.
Take a swing at
it. No, I got nothing jumping.
Wait, did you say it was a late first round pick? Did you
no, I didn't say it was a late round.
No.
He's just trying to rationalize it. Yeah.
I'm trying to rationalize. Somebody who's taking that many threes could just be his job. Mm-hmm. Not somebody who's handling or anything second. But I got nothing.
Any guess?
Sean Respert.
No, it wasn't Sean Respert. You did say his name, but you didn't guess
Damon?
it. It is Damon Stoudemire.
Okay,
Damon Stoudemire attempted 300.
Come on, man. How could you let me have that, man?
This is crazy.
I didn't believe it. I didn't coming out of my mouth that he shot that high a percentage.
So this is why I was like, this is a tough question.
Right.
The line had moved when he was a rookie. They moved it closer in the 1994 season. They kept it, I think, 3 or 4 feet closer than they usually did between the 1994 season and the 1997 season. So his first 2 years in the league, he shot 40% from three. In his third year, it went right back down to 29%. So Damon Stoudemire was really benefiting.
Oh, yeah. No, this is like if they honestly did it today, DeMar DeRozan would be Steph Curry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He would, wow. Okay.
All right, that was a tough question.
That was a prehistoric. That was Alex Wong that inspired right that one.
That was a really tough question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was.
Okay. I will throw it back to you, Will, since Taz, you got it wrong. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Okay. Will. Pick a question, 1 to 10. Obviously, no longer number 6.
I mean, let's go with 2. Let's go with 2.
Number 2. Okay. Oh, another 3-point percentage question.
All
okay.
Right.
Which Raptor holds the franchise record for 3-point percentage?
Like for a season? Like,
all time.
All time?
Yeah.
It's got to be Jason Capono.
It is not Jason Capono. Taz, you have a chance to steal it.
I think I might know. Hold on. This might be one of those trick questions.
Yeah. Maybe a Steve Novak?
It is not Steve Novak.
It's a great poll.
You guys,
it's a great poll.
That is a great poll.
Is it Peja Stojakovic?
It's Matt Thomas.
What?
45.7%. Matt Thomas holds the record. Shout out to Basketball Reference for giving me this in 3-point percentage.
Didn't he shoot like 50 one year or something?
No. 45.7%. He's going to fact check me on this.
Actually, I'm not going to look at it. That's fine. I trust you. Wow.
Okay. All right. So
Matt Thomas,
we have no points on the board through 2 questions.
Did I not steal one? I stole one.
Did you say Damon Stoudemire?
I stole Damon, yeah.
Oh, did he say Damon Stoudemire? Okay, fine. So, Will,
it's weird because I said the name, but I wasn't guessing it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't count for a question. An answer.
All right. Taz, back to you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Wow.
What do you got? Question. What number?
Oh, I got a number. I got to pick a number. 9, please.
9.
Nice.
Okay. Which team did the Raptors have their biggest margin of victory in franchise history against? Which team?
Man, what are these?
This is hard.
These are tough? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought
just got that off the top of their dome. Let's be real.
I thought I was talking to some Raptors experts.
They crushed the mid-90s. Look, give me an era. Not that it really matters.
It's actually very recent.
Very recent. Okay. I'm thinking of some blowouts recently, I guess.
There have been some. Hey, they've had some good teams recently,
Let's go down. Let's go down south where I currently am, close by. Did they crush the Charlotte Hornets?
They did not crush the Charlotte Hornets. Will, you got a chance to steal.
Man.
Take it.
It's going to be a lot of teams, man. So you said it's recent-ish era.
Yes, recent-ish. We are in 2024.
Why do I think we beat the Pacers by like 45 points or something like that?
We did, but it wasn't that one. Is that your
That was my
guess?
guess. Yeah. That was
Okay. No, it was a 53-point win against the Golden State Warriors.
Oh yeah, that was in
Steph
Tampa.
Curry didn't. Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So Steph Curry didn't travel to the game, and
that one
Jordan Poole was there. Does that not count?
We were playing James Wiseman. We were playing who's the Nico? Well, who's the guy with the red hair?
Oh, Nico Mannion.
Mannion, yeah.
Nico Mannion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Kelly Oubre. Yeah.
Kelly Oubre. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Man, that's tough. Okay.
We'll keep it pushing here. Okay. Is it Taz?
That's okay. I'm gonna fire up that game. I'm gonna watch it right now just to relive some glory. No, I think it's Will.
Yeah, Will, it's you.
Yeah. I think Kyle Lowry set the franchise record for plus minus in that game.
Maybe.
Let's go with 3. Let's go with 3. That's the OG.
Okay, number 3. Okay, not a bad question. In the 2007-2008 season, Jose Calderon shot 51% from the field, 42% from 3, 90% from the free throw line, but did not make the illustrious 50-40-90 list. Why?
Did he just not shoot enough free throws to qualify?
That is correct.
Okay.
He didn't shoot enough free throws. He attempted 120. The minimum was 125.
Damn.
So, yeah. I'm still mad about that, actually, as a 14-year-old kid watching that. Anyways.
I was 14 watching for 50-40-90, man. That's crazy.
Anyways.
What?
Listen, hey, I was into it. Okay,
right.
Will, you've got 2.
Let's go.
Throwing it back to you, Taz. Let's see what you got.
Yeah,
What
I
number?
need to get 1 on the board. So give me number 1, please.
Nice.
Number 1. Okay, this is actually something you guys can kind of compete in together. You guys can go back and forth if you would like to.
Oh, okay.
All right. Scotty Barnes just tied Pascal Siakam for the second most triple-doubles in franchise history. There are 10 other players outside of Barnes and Siakam who have triple-doubles. Name them all. You guys can go back and forth until one person gets it wrong.
Let's take turns. Go ahead,
Taz,
go ahead.
you go first.
Wow, I was unaware of that.
Just
So
any
give me,
triple-doubles. Yeah.
Any triple-double. Wow. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
That is,
on the board.
yeah, of
So
course.
you said aside from Pascal
Aside from Pascal and Scotty, there are 10 players.
So you said-
He just picked Kyle. There's
Okay.
9 more left. Yes.
Fred got a triple-double?
Fred got a triple-double. Yes,
They
that
got
is true.
2? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Back to you,
That's
Taz.
unbelievable. Those are good
This guy played like 49 minutes a game. I feel like he had enough time to get 10 rebounds.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Where are we going with this pick? Let's go deep. Let's go for a deep cut.
It's tough. Let's see.
I'm wrong.
Did he
I
freeze?
guess.
Oh, did you
Oh, you
freeze?
froze.
Did I just
He
froze
just,
there?
he just
Yeah.
hit the hezzy on us.
Yeah, you hit that.
Well,
Yeah,
what was
I
a deep
could-
cut?
Because it's probably a terrible guess, but I'm going to say it again. Vincent Lamar Carter.
Vince Carter did.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, back to you.
Okay, yeah.
Will.
All right. I mean, I got the most infamous triple-double in Raptors history, Ben Uzo. Of
Yes,
course.
Ben
come
Uzo.
on.
Yes, yeah.
Come on,
of
man.
course.
Pull.
The
Nice
difference
pull.
between us
That
getting
one.
Terrence Ross and Dame Lillard back in the day.
Yes, that is correct.
Yep.
Okay, Taz, back to you.
Oof. Now the Ben Uzo has inspired a Marcus Camby guess from me. I could be
Oh, with
that could be a
blocks?
Marcus
stupid
Camby
guess.
is correct.
That's
it
a
was
good
with
one.
blocks
That's a
too.
good one.
It was with blocks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, Will, back to you. We've got, let's see, 5 more left.
5 more?
Yes.
There's no way DeMar DeRozan never got one.
Are you? Is that a guess?
That's it.
DeMar, man, he never got one triple-double, man. Maybe he did. I don't know.
Is that
Okay,
your final answer?
Hold on. We got Fred, we got Kyle, we got Vince.
Yep.
We got
You said Pascal and
Camby.
Scotty, obviously, right?
yeah.
Ben
we got
Uzo.
Ben Uzo. Oh, Jose Calderon got a triple-double.
Jose Calderon did get a triple-double. Yes.
Yes.
Back to you. We've got 4 more left, Taz.
Oh, I think I got a
Goodness.
crazy one. Well, not crazy, to be honest. It's all right.
Mm.
Ooh, this is tough, man. We on the spot.
Yeah.
I know.
We
These
go-
are tough.
We go small or big. So they're tough as in
Hmm.
not Raptors you think of right off the bat.
No, these, honestly, if you...
They're recognizable names.
These
I
are
think.
recognizable names, yes. The rest of these guys, you know that they have played for the Toronto Raptors.
We should have game show music in the background.
We should have. Yeah, hey, producer.
I Okay, just because the Calderon got me thinking about TJ Ford, I'll say it. It's probably wrong.
TJ Ford is incorrect.
No.
And Will gets the point here. Okay, the remaining ones.
I feel I should say Alvin. Alvin got one.
Alvin Williams did get one.
Alvin Williams. Wow.
There was like a 20-year gap between Alvin getting one and then like Ben Uzo getting one. There was like nobody in between. Like it was, I don't know.
I'm surprised no one said Mighty Mouse. Damon Stoudemire.
Damon Stoudemire, yeah. That was a good one. He also played 49 minutes a game.
Yes. Mark Jackson and Charles Oakley.
Nice.
Big Oak.
Underrated pick, Charles Oakley.
Yes. Okay.
DeMar DeRozan really never got a triple-double, huh? Man, this man
I think he
played
got
like
his first triple-double with the Spurs. I think that's what happened. Okay. All right. Will, back to you. Make your guess.
What do we got? We got 1, 2, 3's gone. Let's go 4. 4 be great.
Okay. I believe that is okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. The Raptors are currently on pace to win 33 games this season.
Oh, damn.
That's
why it's tough.
Sorry. The last time they won 33 games was in the 2008-2009 season. Which of the following players played the most minutes for that team that year? Sean Marion, Joey Graham, Jermaine O'Neal, Jason Capono, or Jamario Moon?
It's tough.
This is a trick question. Damn. Okay. Hold on. Give me the names again. Give me the names again.
All right. Sean Marion, Joey Graham,
Yeah.
Jermaine O'Neal, Jason Capono,
Yeah.
or Jamario Moon.
Dude, why do I want to say Jamario Moon, man?
Yeah.
Shouts my guy Jamario Moon. Apollo 33.
Is that your final answer?
I'm going with Apollo 33. He's my fan favorite back in the day.
Jamario Moon is incorrect. Taz, you have a chance to steal.
You let me down.
Oh, I can't go with Sean Marion. I can't go with Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah, they were traded for each other.
They were.
Right.
That year.
Capono. Yeah, so that year. So Capono, and who's the other option? Sorry.
Joey Graham.
Joey G? Wow, he had a big, heavy first year. I'm going to go with Joey Graham. That's what I'm going to go with.
Joey Graham is also not the answer. It is Jason Capono.
Really?
He was 5th on the team in minutes.
You know, we had Jason Capono on the show like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what inspired this question.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
We shouldn't have had him on the show then.
Okay.
All right, stacked guests on this show. It's very impressive.
Yeah, including yourself.
It's all the producers, man. It's all the producers.
Absolutely. Taz, you got to pick a number.
5, please.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. RJ Barrett became the 8th Canadian player to play for the Raptors. Who are the other 7?
We're not going back and forth on this? Okay.
Do you want to go back and forth on this?
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Okay, fine. Yeah. We could go back.
We got 2 minutes left, so this is basically our last question.
Okay. Yeah. All right, go back and forth.
I got to watch the show.
Go back and
forth. But Tassie, you go ahead.
Kojo.
Yes,
nice.
Kojo.
That's a nice one.
That's one.
Chris Boucher, my boy.
Yep, Chris Boucher. Yep.
Yeah.
Jamal McGlure.
Big cat. Yep.
Nice. Delano Banton. Having a career resurgence in Portland. I see you, Delano.
Yes.
Represent.
Yes, shout out Delano. Yes, absolutely.
Why am I missing?
3 more left.
So Kelly Olynyk is not allowed.
Oh,
here?
I guess you know what? I'll count it.
Oh, okay.
I'll count it.
Wait, what was your question? Is it before this year?
No, it was. I completely forgot about Kelly O in this.
What?
I'm gonna.
What, you forgot about RJ too, or what?
No. I'm gonna count Kelly because this is a post. Whatever. Kelly counts.
Because Kelly Olynyk played after RJ.
Yeah.
RJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
RJ, we already got. Yeah.
You already got RJ?
Yeah.
We said RJ. Okay. Who else
we
we
have
had?
3 more left.
Three more Canadians go play for the Raptors. Man, I don't know why I'm blanking on this. Who else has been playing for the Raptors recently? Man.
Think Tampa season.
We had a Canadian in Tampa. Kem Birch, yeah, of course.
There you go.
Everyone remembers Kem Birch.
Okay.
Representing We the North, number 24, Kem Birch.
Taz, I'll give you one. Think former number 1 overall picks.
Anthony Bennett.
There you go. Okay.
Number 15. You letting Vince Carter's number go to Anthony Bennett, man.
Hey, should retire it. Man. I will give the final one here. Yeah, O'Shea Brissett. Brissett.
Yeah, we would have got that.
Yeah.
Well, Taz, we appreciate you, man.
And I would love to talk more about Raptors and whatnot, but it was great to have you on to do trivia and you know, get some quiz stuff going on.
Listen to No Dunks, man. You guys are literally one of my favorites from all-time favorites. So
yes,
we're gonna take one more break here. Been your host, Willow. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. When we come back, we talk to a 2019 Raptors champion. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Continue to be joined by co-host Esfandiar Baraheni. Big thanks to Tas Melas for coming on the program.
Yes.
You know,
legend.
What was the score? I feel like I watched Tas a little bit.
You did, man. You swept him.
I swept him.
You swept him.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Tas.
Damn, Tas.
I know.
Appreciate you coming on the program just to get swept. You're like the Brooklyn Nets. You're like Garrett Temple's Brooklyn Nets in 2020 in the bubble.
Oh, the Karis LeVert-led Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, man. Joe Harris, you know? Oh, man. That Chris Chiozza?
Yeah, that's one of the least memorable Raptors playoff series ever for me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The only thing I remember for that playoff series was our bench in Game 4 scored 100 points.
Yes, I remember
in a playoff game.
Yeah.
The whole bench unit scored 100 points.
Insane. Shout out to that 2020 team, man.
The team was awesome, man.
What was, like, I know the championship year was obviously the year for you and for a lot of, people who watch, but how much better, I don't know, like, for some people, 2020 was even better than 2019 just because of the repeat. I don't know if I would necessarily agree.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Getting a chip is something else.
It's like saying the cuddling afterwards was better.
Oh, my God.
No, it really is.
You spitting, though.
I'm just saying, like, it's not the main thing, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
So what was your question? Was it better for me? No.
Yeah, no.
2019
or 2020?
No, I mean, come on, man. You didn't want to lose to the Celtics of all teams.
I'm not your child. Rondé Hollis Jefferson. No, that doesn't do anything for you.
That was cool, man. It was a great season. Top 3 Raptor season for me, history-wise. But, I don't know. That season was really good. Don't get me wrong. A lot of great moments, a lot of great vibes.
Yeah.
Whole time it was like, see how good we're doing without Kawhi. But then you got to the playoffs and you're like, you kind of miss champions on the team. Could have repeated with that team if they kept the team together. But we'll talk about that in a second. Joining us on the program, as promised, a 2019 champion. And honestly, you look up Danny Green's Wikipedia right now. 3-time NBA champion. Slovenian Cup champion 2011. I don't know about that one, Danny. I don't know how much you've talked about that one. NCAA champion, of course, with North Carolina. Lots of accolades across the board. But Danny Green, appreciate you joining us on the program, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you guys having me. I do not recall a Slovenian championship, but I appreciate the accolades.
It says 2011. I hope that I don't know if that jars anything. Maybe you beat like Luka when he was like 6 years old or something. But yeah,
he was young then. But 2011, we was during the lockout season, so I came back when the lockout ended. I didn't finish the season there.
Okay, all right. We got to update the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
I feel like the 3-time champion NBA.
That's probably a little bit more
NCAA. Yeah, it's enough trophies in your cabinet. So we wanted to talk about the Sixers and the Cavs, the two teams that you were just most recently on. Sixers, good news for the Sixers fans today, at least. Joel Embiid spoke to media, talked about the plan is that he wants to return this season. We'll obviously have to see when that is, what condition they're in. But putting aside that, I actually wanted to ask you, what do you think adding Kyle Lowry, your former teammate, is going to do for Philadelphia in their hopes to, again, get over that hump in the second round?
Obviously, somebody familiar with Nick Nurse, he can bridge the gap between the players and coaches on how to understand, and also said he's got some experience. He's another veteran. He brings some leadership, but he knows what it takes to get there. He's obviously a champion, the greatest Raptor of all time. He's a great player in this league and a great mind in this league. So he could definitely help the young guys. They have a good group of young guys and a lot of people that haven't been there yet. And hopefully he can help them get over the hump and also, be part, not just a player, but part of the coaching staff and helping Nick Nurse to get through the guys.
Danny, a lot of moving parts for the Sixers over the last couple of years. Ben Simmons out, James Harden in, James Harden out. Now they have some sort of stability now. With Nick Nurse coming in, and obviously you're well-versed in both Nick and Kyle, what do you think has been the biggest difference this year in terms of how this team looks, maybe offensively and defensively?
It's hard to tell with Joel being out. But when Joel was there, they said, and Tyrese, they just looked, pretty fresh. And then Tobias, in a playing in a pretty good role as of late. I know Tobias is struggling a little bit, but those 3 guys have been playing really good basketball, as well as the others. Kelly Oubre had a stint. They just have injuries. It's hard to keep them afloat or staying above or being where they should be because of the injuries they have. They're really a top 3 team in the East, but because they've had so many bodies out, D'Anthony Melton being out, and then the trades happening, it's kind of ruined the flow and the chemistry at times. But before all that happened, Nick had them playing at a very high level, and really comfortable and good basketball and playing confidently. So Tobias playing some of his best basketball. Joel, obviously MVP season before he got hurt, and Tyrese could have been an all-star starter before, Joel went down. If they continue to be a top 3 team, he could have been a starter in the All-Star East for sure.
Yeah, I think the Raptors definitely saw a lot of Philadelphia at the start of the season. I think you even made the trip in one of those coming to Toronto or, things
the first
like
one.
Yeah, right? And it's like I felt like the Raptors had no answers for that pick and roll combination in particular. So hopefully Joel's able to get back onto the court. But I think, speaking to Nick Nurse's approach, you went through training camp and all the things with them. Like, what was Nick's approach coming to Philadelphia? Because that was not an easy job to take over. Philly had been sort of, again, they can't get over the second round. They let go of Doc largely because of that reason. What kind of new, technique or, swagger, what did Nick do with that group? Because we've seen Nick have instant success, obviously, previously in 2019. Yeah.
For sure. I think just change the mantra and the mindset of the Philadelphia sports. The city of Philly has struggled with a few. Said the Phillies have won one and the Eagles have won one. But it's been tough. The mindset is they don't really expect to win, always think something's going to happen. It's kind of how I guess the Cowboys fans have been as of late, America's team, but everybody knows something's going to happen with the Cowboys. They're going to do something to choke or to lose. They kind of had that in his mind, that mindset in Philly. So he wanted to just change that mindset, that mantra, and expect to win. This is what we're going to do. We're here to do this, and you got to believe it's going to happen. The more you believe it, the more you tell yourself every day, the more chances you have of it coming true. So he just wanted to come in first and foremost to change the mindset, and then of course, follow suit from that by putting in his principles, putting in his theories, and having the team strengthen their weaknesses, which was, I think, rebounding. They were pretty weak at, and transition defense. That's just the basketball X's and O's. But outside of that, it starts with the mental more than anything.
Danny, I want to switch over to Cleveland and the Cavs, and you obviously you finished out the 2022-23 season with them. The playoffs didn't necessarily go the way you guys might have expected, especially because they had a really, really good year. What went wrong in that first round against New York, in your opinion? And in general, just what happened from your perspective?
Not a lot of things went right. We had one good game too. Yeah, I think it was just an experience thing. So the whole team, most of them, except for Donovan, I think Jared Allen, most of those guys are young, had never been. Karis LeVert had been, but none of them have been in the playoffs like that, including the coaching staff, which I said was an eye opener for a while. I think the front office hadn't been in the playoffs for a while since Braun had left. I think the coaching staff said they were very new coaching staff, so it was just new for a lot of them, and I think that's kind of what took everybody a game or two to get back. And I said, playing in the Garden is not easy. New York was a really good team. Jalen Brunson was a very good player. And obviously, he's getting the praises now, but people slept on him. And, the way he played, Julius Randle had some good pieces. They played really good basketball. And they could have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was Miami. It was just really good run as well. But I think it's just an experience thing for the most part. I won't say anything went wrong or right. I think it was just tough because we were behind the 8 ball when it came to our guys, most of our main guys, not being prepared for the lights.
Yeah. Well, there was that infamous Jared Allen quote that went around, but I think more than anything else, it was little things, right? The first time you go to the playoffs, you saw it in Toronto for a long time. First couple of times Kyle and DeMar went to the playoffs, it was like everything that worked in the regular season all of a sudden didn't work. Yeah. And people were panicking a little bit, adjustment, and that's where that experience comes in. And, you definitely saw the difference there. Do you see something in Cleveland this year around, obviously having gone through that experience, but also they're having a better season than last year? They've added reinforcements. We just saw what Max Strus did as well. Do you see Cleveland doing better this time around, handling that spotlight?
It's tough to say, man, because you don't know until they get into that spot. I don't know how the coaching, it comes down, the game slows down. It comes down to coaching a lot of times when talent kind of matches up. I think they have the talent. They added some pieces. They've added a little more experience with one more year of their younger guys. And also the East has gotten better, so it's hard to say. They might match up with a Philly in the first round. Right. And because they lose to Philly with a healthy Joel Embiid and they don't do as good as last year, doesn't mean that they weren't better. They're not a better team. They just matched up with a tougher team or a better team. And probably, a team that with a coach that has more experience or a coaching staff. So it's hard to say until they get there. They're playing really good basketball right now. I think they have some good pieces, but I do think they lack some experience when it comes to that. And so the East is just it's not a cakewalk anymore. There's only 2 or 3 teams in the East that were good. Now there's it's a deeper Eastern Conference, and whoever you match up with, it could be Miami.
Yeah.
1 through 8 is going to be a tough. Nobody wants to match up with these teams in the first round when it comes to Philly, Miami, and I don't know who's going to sneak in at 8. It could be Indiana. That's not no cakewalk either. So
it's interesting to get your perspective on this because you've been in so many playoff series, so many different moments, so many different kind of like game situations. From your perspective, I've always wondered this. What is the difference between regular season basketball and playoff basketball that makes it what it is?
I mean, obviously the level of intensity goes up.
Yeah.
But the game slows down. It's who's going to execute for a longer period of time than the other team, and who's going to show up. Obviously, the stars always usually do what they're supposed to do, but there's always that X factor, that role player, somebody. In order for a team to get hot or go on a run, you need 1 or 2 guys that you don't expect to show up and have star nights to do so in a series. And that, for us was Fred. We had Norm. We had a couple guys show up. Pascal, they came out and played, I wouldn't say above themselves, but they played really good basketball for themselves. They played efficiently. And every team has a guy like that plays well when they go on a run. And your superstars have to show up. And there's times where superstars don't show up. And superstars, that can dictate a lot of it. And you could have all the above happen and just not have the proper coaching adjustments. Right. You know what I'm saying? Then you have a really good series. So there's a lot of things that come into play. It's really execution. It comes down to that. Your X factor showing them some coaching, making the right adjustments of what we need to change and what do you think they're going to change that we need to be able to adapt to on the fly when it happens in the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're already on the subject, and I've been waiting. I've been patient about this, but we gave it 10 minutes to talk about other teams. We got to talk about 2019. It was such a good time. I mean, even just looking at you, I'm feeling the vibes.
Nostalgic?
No, seriously, man. You don't understand.
It was a great time.
It was a time of our lives, really. Okay, let's start with a couple of those things. So the coaching, we talked about it a couple of times. Nick was such a big part of that as a rookie coach coming in. But I think when we look back on that playoff run, especially that championship run, so much creativity, right, in terms of like coming up with new schemes. So when he came up with the box and one in the finals, like was that like on the fly in a huddle during a timeout? And like how did you guys, and you was a veteran team, you, Kawhi, Mark, Serge, Kyle, these guys have played a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you guys been asked to play box and one, but what was the reaction? What was the moment, and how did you guys go with it?
I think the last time I've been asked to play box and one was probably high school. Don't remember ever doing it in college, but it wasn't a thing that happened in the huddle on the fly. We had walked through it before, but it wasn't like weeks before, a month before. We hadn't gone through it all season, but it was like, a couple of days before, a day before, like, all right, let's see what this looks like. We might go to this. And it's like, all right. And him being a rookie coach, we're like, what the hell's going on? Not a lot of us believed in it, but it worked, and obviously he's been doing this thing for some years now and everybody's believing it. So he's becoming, outside the box defensive genius. But seeing him as a rookie head coach, it was hard for guys to like, but we had the pieces, we had the talent to do it. So whatever it was, we said, we're going to buy into it. We're going to figure it out. And we did. And Nick said he threw out some junky stuff out there. And at the time we were like, what the hell's going on? But, so now that's why Philly has him. People trust him, and what he does, it works.
You go online and sometimes they'll post a picture of the 2019 team, like you guys in your kind of like class photo, and people will say, man, that was such an underrated team. Just you look across the roster.
Oh, absolutely, man.
There's Fred, there's Norm, guys who were coming off the bench back then, but now they're starters on their respective teams. Do you guys still keep in touch? Yeah, some of them are all-stars. You're right. Do you guys still all keep in touch? Do you guys stay in contact, or maybe? Yeah.
For sure. I mean, some guys more than others here and there. When we see each other, it's always love. I talk to Fred when I can here and there. I talk to OG quite a bit. OG's my guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely keep in contact with some of them. Obviously I played with Kawhi for years before I got to Toronto. So he's definitely family. I see his uncle all the time. We chop it up. Serge when I can, when I see him, the guy, they're still playing. So guys are still busy.
Yeah.
So when everybody's done playing and we're in the same cities, end up in the same cities, we'll, do the daddy daycare type thing, kids and dinners and stuff like that. Everybody's got kids and settle down. But, it's great to see them flourish and, be in their new respective homes or roles. And, Fred being a leader in Houston and OG being in New York and being a key piece to that, which I think could be the team to shock everybody in the East.
I agree with you, Danny.
It's great to see them and be proud. And it's crazy because a guy like OG didn't even play for us when we were in that run. You know what I'm saying? He was hurt. and we didn't even have him during the run. But we had so many pieces. I guess you could say underrated, but I think a lot of people realize how talented that group was. Just guys weren't in their prime yet.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I never asked anybody about this, but how did OG handle that period, right? Because he had the appendectomy. Like, literally, we were in the media room when the Raptors were about to play round 1 against Orlando, when you guys were playing round 1, and I think the news broke that he had to get surgery and that he was going to be out for a while, and it's a major surgery.
He was great, man.
He was okay, though?
It perfectly well. He was good. I said, I think a couple of us went to visit. I know I went to visit him in the hospital. A couple of us checked on him. His mind was okay. Nice. He was still young then. He was very young.
Yeah.
He wasn't a rookie, but he was very young. He was still learning. He was just, excited to be healthy and excited to be a part of the journey. I wish we could have had him. Wish he could have been a part of the experience. But, he's a champion regardless. He was with us all year, all season, and helped us, even being on the backup team of trying to, the second squad, of trying to prepare us for that moment up until the playoff time. And even in the playoffs, we came back in the finals. We thought maybe he might throw in there, but Nick didn't throw him in there. But he was healthy enough to play, and I was happy that he was able to at least get in the late lines and be a part of the group during the finals.
Yeah,
right.
That would have been a really cool moment if he got to play.
That 2019 team defensively with the roster you guys had. I mean, Danny, former all defensive player, Kawhi, 2-time defensive player of the year, Mark, defensive player of the year, Kyle, also an incredible defender, Fred and
Serge,
Pascal. These guys all could guard, and then you throw OG into that mix. I mean, honestly, it would have been crazy. I think for me, one of the questions I always had was just like, which series was the toughest one for you guys to go into? Because you guys did fall down multiple times, right? You guys were down 2-1 against Philly, down 0-2 against Milwaukee. You guys did lose game 2 at home to
it was 1-1 going into game 3.
And then, of course, game 5 happened. KD came back. Yeah. There were a lot of moments at adversity where it was like, maybe it's a little shaky. What was the series where you as a player playing in it was like, man, I don't know. This is really, really tough, and I don't know if we have enough for this one.
I think it was the Philly. I mean, Philly's the one that went to 7 games, and obviously being down 0-2 to Milwaukee, but I still thought we were the better team. I thought we could get them. And once we tied it up, it was like, all right, we're good. Orlando, we lost game 1. And there was the historic thing of Toronto always losing game 1s.
Yeah.
I don't think we were too stirred about it, but we were like, man, this is okay. We need to wake the hell up. But I think 7 games with Philly was tough, and so we couldn't even play certain guys like me, Fred, and Norm were kind of in and out, and they felt like Nick couldn't play us because the guards were bigger. They had Ben, Jimmy. It was hard to play Fred and Norm when they had those big guards. We kind of rotated in and out. But it was an interesting series and went 7 games. And if that went into overtime, if Kawhi don't hit that shot, we don't know where we'd be. But obviously Golden State had injuries, and weirdly enough, we won all our games on the road. But I would have to probably give that to the Philly series, because I think whoever won that series, I think would have won the chip. And luckily for us, it was us. Kawhi hit that shot.
It's a crazy inflection point in NBA history, if you think about it, because that year, Jimmy, Joel, Ben, and JJ.
JJ was a problem.
Right? JJ was an absolute problem.
This guy had to chase JJ around. He would tell you how much of a problem JJ was. That little handoff of that beat was deadly, man.
Everywhere JJ's been, he's been a pain in the ass. Whether it was Embiid, it was DeAndre Jordan, or Blake Griffin, he's been chasing the guy for years. He was tough getting to his right hand, getting off to DHO with that right shoulder. You can't get to that shot. It was damn near unstoppable. So he always had good screeners, and he always knew how to get himself open, push you off him, get you off him, and create space, because he was a shorter guy, but he also jumped high enough to where you're not blocking the shot. So
you always jumped high on your jumpers too, man. You always had like
I was a jump shooter.
Yeah.
I was a jump shooter. Yeah. Weirdly enough, I changed my shot for the 3-point contest that year, which I shouldn't have did, because usually jump shooters don't win the contest.
Right.
But I wish I would have just stuck with the jump shot. But usually you get fatigued as a jump shooter over time.
Did you stick with that change shot for the rest of the year too, or no? Because you had a legendary Raptors.
It was just for the contest.
Just for the contest. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was just for the contest.
Okay, good. Yeah,
man, I guess the thing I was wondering about, because of that inflection point, another inflection point happened that summer after winning the chip.
Yeah.
Summer free agency, the decision with Kawhi, yourself. I guess the thing everybody always wonders about is how close were they to truly running it back? Were you guys to running it back and kind of bringing that team all back together?
I don't think it was as close as everybody thinks it was. They knew they couldn't bring back everybody. I guess payroll was too. I knew I couldn't come back. Even if Kawhi came back, they were only going to go to the luxury tax for Kawhi.
Right.
So they could have brought Kawhi back and kept maybe everybody else. but I knew for sure they couldn't bring me back. Either way, they're already in luxury tax. We had too many guys with big payrolls, and then they had to pay. They knew they were going to pay Pascal and had to pay Fred. Those guys were coming up, and OG. So they just couldn't keep everybody. So it was tough, and that's usually the case. You see a lot of teams not break up, or they just guys go part ways because of contract issues. Certain teams can't keep Denver. They couldn't keep Bruce Brown. They don't have enough money. In Dallas, they had a bunch of guys leave because they didn't have enough money to keep everybody. Rarely do you see a group like me in Miami or in San Antonio when I was there, or even LA. We had enough money to afford to keep everybody back. They still made changes. Yeah. Rarely do you see groups stay together after winning a championship or going to the finals because of contract issues.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to ask the question that everyone's wondering is
what
if everybody paid the money and kept Kawhi and just kept the whole group around, like. My opinion, I think the Raptors are clearly the favorites to win 2020, and this is a huge what if. And obviously, you end up winning anyway, regardless.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, because you think about it, I don't think the chips fall the same way for the Lakers. I don't think the chips fall the same way for Golden State. KD still leaves; he's hurt, he's injured. Golden State is not where they were. I don't know if they made the playoffs that year.
No, they're bad. Steph hurt his hand or something.
Yeah.
You think about it, it was us, and I think coming out of the East was Miami, right, in the bubble. Miami was good, but they were different. We had Kawhi, we had Pascal, we had Fred.
Yeah.
Mark. I don't know if you've seen, even in the bubble, Toronto gave Boston. Did they go to 7? Did they go to 7 games?
7. Yeah. And it came down to like the last two possessions.
Without me and Kawhi, come on now. I think we had a pretty good favorite of being the team in the East to beat. The following year, if we kept everybody, the chips would have fell differently for everybody else, even for the Clippers. Yeah, I'm saying the chips would have been. If we would have kept our group, it would have been different.
No, it's jokes that Danny won the ring anyway, though.
He did.
It's not a what if for you.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? The Raptors gave the Lakers problems in that year. That run it back year.
I remember.
Pascal had that big game against AD and whatnot.
Well, everybody that came to LA gave us. I mean, people have their best games when they come to LA.
Yeah,
stars the court side, guys played great.
Yeah,
they played great. And it sucks that we had to just do everything in the bubble, but we had a really good group. Once they signed, obviously Bron, AD, they signed me, and then they signed KCP back. Dwight, JaVale, brought in Avery, Bradley, brought in a bunch of guys. We had a really good defense team. Alex Caruso. We just had too many stacked veterans and great talent there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Danny, I remember because you were doing Inside Agreement with Yahoo. In 2019, and I remember that year in particular. I mean, first of all, everyone had to tune in, right? It was like a championship-winning team. You got to tune into all the stories. You got the interviews with all the guys. Like, it was incredible. Actually,
it was great.
The one guy you couldn't get was Kawhi, though. I feel like
nobody's got Kawhi.
Will Kawhi ever do a podcast?
Except for Serge. I think Serge got Kawhi. He's the only person. I don't think Kawhi.
Did Serge pay him?
OG that I've been trying to. I think he did. I mean, I would assume so. And I wasn't the type to annoy or nag guys. Out there. Like, some guys will come to me like, I gotta get on the pod. Cool. That's the one thing I hate about having a pod is having to ask people. I think my people tried to ask Kawhi, and Kawhi said he don't care for that to talk about it. And I'm not trying to bother him, annoy him. But I think Serge paid him to be on the show and eat some weird shit on the show. Who knows? But OG was the other person that I still have yet to get, guys. Yeah. Fraudulent friend, calling him out. But now he's my guy. But it's always like he's always got something coming up. So when I try to get him on the pod, it was hard to get him. But one of these days we'll get him. So it's Kawhi and OG are probably the two hardest guys to get on the pod. But I think they both did Serge's thing.
Yeah,
crazy. Right. You guys supposed to be my friends, right? Nuts.
He playing favorites, man.
Yeah,
he playing favorites. You wearing scarves and all that stuff now.
Hey,
you guys are my friends, right?
Paul George isn't even getting Kawhi on the podcast. Like, they have their podcast now. I haven't seen.
Bro, I feel Kawhi. Like Kawhi on a podcast. What would Kawhi even say on a podcast? You know what I mean? Like,
he'll answer questions. I think he's probably saving them for if they win. So he'll probably use Kawhi after they win. PG's got enough guys where he's getting the juice where he don't need Kawhi. He's getting some pretty good guys on his podcast. It's pretty well.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's good to see them doing well over there. It's good to see OG. But one day I'll get them on the pod. When I said after basketball, when I become Dwayne Johnson or some shit like that. If I become The Rock, then they'll be like, let's get on your pod. If I get Uncle Shay, you got to be a big guy now, for people to want to be on your pod. Or become, what was his name? Is it Caleb Presley? You become this big podcaster, then they'll be like, I'll agree to do it.
Yeah.
But nah.
Wow, friendship's not enough.
My
huh?
Guys.
Friendship's not enough, I guess.
Yeah. No, those are my guys. They'll be on eventually. They're just busy guys. Once they're done playing, I think I'll be able to get them on.
All right, Danny. I got 2 more for you, and then we'll let you go. Number one, for that year in particular, and it's funny we're talking about Kawhi, but it was like, I remember you were the go-to guy for all the questions that all the reporters wanted to ask about Kawhi. They would just come to you instead. Yep. What was it like being Kawhi's translator that year?
Oh, yeah, being the other guy in the trade. I mean, I've always been that person. You know what I'm saying? I've been the media guy to talk to people that want to do. Even in San Antonio, older guys that want to talk. Make the young guys do it. Danny will do it. It's one of the things that I went to school for, communications.
Right.
And one of the things when I'm done playing that I want to do. So I didn't mind getting the reps in. But it was cool. It gets annoying at times when you become somebody's translator.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the media. I enjoyed all parts of being a part of that group, and every group that I've been a part of. Being able to speak and be the leader, because even in the locker room, guys respected me. So Kawhi would speak when he did. People listened because he didn't speak much, but really the guys in the locker room that spoke the most were like me, Kalo, Fred. Fred was a leader. Even then, he was younger, but he still spoke his mind. Absolutely. And guys respected us. So when it came to everybody's talking about these stories in the locker rooms of who said what, and most of the time it would come from one of us three.
No, that was amazing access. And honestly, inside the green room, it obviously remains
it's unique.
Shouts to Harrison as well. Shouts to friend of the program, Harrison Sanford. But you guys have always given us great access. And the last question, since we're in a good mood, I feel like I'm going to just sneak this in. I'm sorry, man. But after the turnover in Game 6, right, how did you feel in that moment? What were the conversations like? Because I got to say, that was it was a little scary, but obviously you guys pulled it out, so you guys are all good. But after that turnover, what were you thinking?
I almost forgot about it till you brought it up just now. I've been trying to forget about it for years, but I appreciate you bringing it up. Obviously, in the moment, man, I knew that I had full confidence. I was hoping that I'd get a chance to stay in the game and make a play defensively, but I think Nick subbed me out, so I had to watch him silent. But I had full confidence in my team to get it done, figure it out. Obviously learn from those type of lessons, don't be caught in the corner of half court. I had 2 defenders on me in the half court line and the out of bounds line, so I'm in the worst position possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's never put yourself in that. And as a point guard, you know that, but I'm not a point guard, so I don't know that. But those situations, you learn from it and move forward. But luckily, said we got it done. But I had full confidence. And the time, I said, I'm just kicking myself because learning from Pop, regardless that we won, I'm still damn, it's hard to me to celebrate, be as excited when I know. Yeah, when you make mistakes in those type of games, especially you're an overthinker, it's hard to not think about the things that you did or what you think people are going to remember you for. In the moment, it's damn, people always remember I had this turnover. And as it comes.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
I'm sorry. Because that's not fair, man.
I don't think
Danny
that's not true.
Dude, you had one of the best three-point shooting seasons ever as a Raptor.
100%.
Right? You were the starter for the entire title run. Come on, man.
For sure, 100%. But a lot of people always they said it takes years, but people do forget. And that's when it's easier for me to all right, nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
But in the moment, people were oh, he almost cost us the championship. Even Lakers, we won a championship in the bubble. Danny Green missed a shot. It's people remember the negatives more than they remember the positives until years pass.
Yeah.
And it's he won a championship, but it's always going to be a thing. And then at that moment, you're damn, I don't want to be remembered by this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be remembered for this, or I want to be the one to let my team down. But it's just something that was instilled in me when I was in San Antonio because we lost the first one in the finals. I just remember Pop replaying, these mistakes over and over from the game 6 that we lost when Ray Allen hit the shot. And it's damn, I could have cost my team this. And that is always going to be buried in my brain or in my basketball heart forever because damn, I could have had another championship.
It's what it takes to win 3 chips, man.
Yeah.
You see that? This guy won the championship, and he's I lament that one turnover. Dude, it didn't even matter.
Didn't matter.
You guys won.
Nah, but it builds you as a character for future positionings, and also said when I'm teaching my kids something, or you're teaching your campers, I've won, but I'm not perfect. I failed just as much as I've succeeded, and this is why I'm able to succeed and hopefully succeed even more because of these failures and these mistakes that I made. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes. But if you do make a mistake, don't get too down on yourself because you never know, what the next play may bring if you're staying in a positive, positive mindset.
Yeah, I hear you.
Either way, man, remember and know that you are a legend here in Toronto.
I appreciate it, man.
You will, bro.
They always show so much love, man, and appreciation there. And I love coming back to not just the country of Canada, but the city of Toronto.
Right, of course. Because you did a nation tour. I remember that too. Yeah,
I did. Yeah. I did a camp tour, and I would love to have done it every year because it was so much fun and a lot of love. But any chance I get to try to come back to Toronto, I do. I said if I was a citizen, I'd live there. If it had better weather in Toronto, I'd be home for sure.
I hear you.
Just because the weather's a little tough. I'm a California guy now.
Yeah.
I said Toronto is definitely my favorite city.
We're never getting him back
in the world.
Yeah, he's gone.
It's just like Kawhi, you know. Once he went to Cali, he's like, nah.
I mean, if they want me to play, I'm available now. They bring me back tomorrow. I'll be there.
Hey, buddy, we can use some, definitely use some threes, man.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. All right, Danny, we appreciate you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for the championship more than anything else, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you for your time, man.
Anytime.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Danny.
Raptors champion Danny Green.
Crazy.
Dude, how does it feel to talk about an NBA champion?
First of all, unreal.
Yeah.
But also just to know, you know, in 2019, which was not that long ago, you know, it was only 4 or 5 years ago. And to...
I don't know. It feels like a long time.
It feels like a long time ago.
The whole pandemic has taken place.
It felt like, you know, the snap in Marvel, right? It felt like we got life taken away from us type of thing. But in general, when you talk about Danny and his impact, what he was doing, the podcast, the uniqueness of that at that moment, too.
Dude, what he was doing on the court, he hit a game winner for us that year. Remember against Orlando on the baseline?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And remember, he tried to drop his own play. That was another funny moment, you know?
Yeah.
No, but
how many times am I going to shiv Danny on the pod?
No.
He's like, oh, I'm so nice. I'm going to let these guys in Toronto, you know, to talk to me. And then we're like, here, how about that turnover?
Either way.
I feel terrible, man.
Like,
I'm sorry.
One of the most important Raptors in terms of championship, you know, in general. So shout out to him, man.
All right, we're getting stormed on the set, apparently, even though we're live. So we're going to take our last break. I've been your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new Chunky Spicy Soup. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Will Lou. S is still here, but that's not a big deal here because we got a comedian. You've seen him on Just for Laughs. You've seen him on the LOL Network, CTV Comedy. I mean, I'm reading that off of Instagram mostly because I know you as Talking Raptors co-host at Comedy Records, Nick Reynoldson. What's going on, man?
Oh, fellas, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm trying to sit up straight.
I know.
That looks gigantic.
We have a height description. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not that short.
You guys got to stop competing with each other, man. You guys are all good. How you doing, man? So I didn't realize this until I like actually looked specifically at the title because you know like podcasts just come in your feed and they just play, right?
Yeah.
You guys are in season 11 of Talking Raptors.
Wow. 11 years we've been doing this podcast.
Yo, you guys are like a Ed Davis, like a long time veteran at this point. Like
yeah. We're not putting up big numbers, but we're there, consistent.
Yeah. Dude, what's it like being an 11-year vet, man? Like I honestly, like I can't believe you guys have done it for 11 years.
We started that when like you guys remember like Tank for Wiggins?
Right.
This is when we started the podcast. We're like, we need to vent into something. So we started recording it. And hey, man, we got that championship. And beginning of this season, I was like, we might be back to tanking for somebody. This is too familiar, but
you know this draft sucks where there's not even like a hashtag, like a Tank for Wiggins or anything like that.
Yeah,
like,
there's no Tank for nothing.
Yeah. Be sorry for Sar. No, it's not hitting.
It doesn't work.
It's not hitting. Who is that? No offense to him. He might be the first pick. I'm like, all right, cool, but it's not hashtag.
This is looking like an Anthony Bennett draft.
So, yeah.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, we just get Bronny and hold him for ransom.
Yeah. What do you think of that idea? The fact that
I think it would be hilarious if we got him and then LeBron was like, I'm not coming to Canada anyways.
He's like, yo, take care of my son.
Yeah. You guys keep him good. Keep him warm, okay? I'm not coming. I retire.
Oh, man. That would be an amazing LeBron pump fake. If he just got someone to draft him and he's like, actually, I'm not coming though.
One more knife into our back.
Right.
LeBronto for real. He's like, I'm not coming. Keep him.
How have you felt about like all the changes that have happened this season with the Raptors and everything? Like, what's the vibe like with where they're at right now versus where they were like, I don't know, 6 months ago?
I'm glad you asked. I'm a big vibes guy.
Okay.
I'm a big vibes guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think they're high. I think they're good. I'm happy.
That's good.
I'm happy with the changes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It was we needed to do something. Pull that Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Me and my co-host went to see Pascal on Valentine's Day, just two single men crying.
Yeah.
Wearing his jersey, just depressed. And I'm like, okay, once these tears are out, let's look towards the future, baby.
Yeah. That was the All-Star break for you. Was like you got to just like actually refocus mentally. Because I was listening to the last 2 episodes of Talking Raptors. All right. Kind of depressing. The first one was after the Wemby game. And that was one you guys talking about like
great way to promote it. Kind of depressing.
No, dude. The podcast
they've been very depressing this year. I'll be the first to say.
Talking Raptors is the funniest podcast out there, like Raptors wise. Like there's no other competition. Let's be honest. We all try to do this. You guys are actual comedians. But it was after the Spurs game, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, Scotty. Stopped coming back on transition a couple times, and he walked off early, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, also Wemby just made everyone look like a child in that game.
Like a toddler. And
then I was like, okay, this is a one-off episode. Don't worry, the vibes are going to be fine. And then I looked at the last one, and it was after the Raptors got smacked by 40 against the Pelicans, too. And you guys really know when to pick them. But no, I'm happy to hear that the vibes are good for you, though, because I thought mentally you guys were going through it.
Well, I mean, we are, but I'm more positive. We're going through it, brother. It's been a hard season to talk about it, but I like what we're seeing. I like this young core. I do think there's a bright future, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm just talking myself into positivity, but I'm staying positive. I think the future's bright.
Self-positivity.
I think we're good.
Important. I like that. I think that's important to be positive, regardless of believing in the positivity. It's good. You know?
I feel like you look like Wemby next to me right now. That's how I feel.
Yo, I sit up straight from me right now, man.
This is the height.
What's going on, man?
We are the same height.
We're not. Yeah, I don't.
Stand real quick.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Yeah, you guys are pretty much the same height, man.
That's pretty crazy.
Yo, that's wild. What's going on? What's going on?
Apparently, I have very short legs and a big upper body torso thing going on. I don't know.
Give me your measurements, your pant measurements. Like when you're shopping for pants, it's like I'm not gonna say what the waist size is, but is it more than 30 with the length?
Yes, it is more than 30. It is more than 30.
Length is more than 30?
Yes, length is more than 30.
You cuffing that thing, man?
No, it's usually.
Let me see your pants, man. You cuffing those?
Bro, I
swear. You got a little stack on that?
I swear, I'm a 32 length, man.
No
Respect
way.
me. Wait,
I'm
what?
A 32.
I'm a 30-30.
Are you a 30-30?
Yeah.
Nah.
Damn.
How high are you wearing those pants, man?
Damn. I gotta reconsider my choices.
Yeah.
Wait, you're like 36?
What, like pant length?
Length, yeah.
Length? No, I'm like a 32, 33. Like, I don't really have long legs. No, I have a long upper body as well.
36 length? How tall do you think Will is?
Tall dude, man.
Not 36-inch legs.
No, man,
I have no real gauge for how. Clearly, I have no real gauge for what the size of pants would be.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting to roast us that much this time around.
I wasn't trying to, man. I'm roasting myself.
I'm surprised by this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sit up so straight. You guys my core has never been this activated in my entire life.
I'm
sweating.
Right. So I asked you just come up with 3 hot takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the thing is, when I'm listening to Talking Raptors, I'm like, these guys can say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They would be like, the pick and roll defense wasn't good today, but mushrooms were good today.
Yes, yeah. So what's crazy about our podcast, it doesn't seem editing. We actually do edit it because what could possibly get out into the world would be so insane. So we definitely edit it. We definitely, we consume some beverages sometimes and record. We're loose,
Yeah.
We're not talking stats. We're not talking analytics. We're talking vibes, baby.
What is that sound effect? Oh my god!
You didn't hear it in the headphones, but there was a sound of I don't know what that sound was.
I mean, you know what that sound was, and I know what that sound was. It was
Was it how Lil Wayne starts his mixtapes? Was it?
It was
the lighter.
It was a bing bong. It was a bing bong.
Okay.
And this one's no Knicks fan. Okay, give us your hot takes. I want your 3 hot takes.
Okay, I'll ease into it.
Okay,
it'll get progressively better.
Okay,
so this is for my age. This was hard to admit, but I do think we're retiring Vince's jersey next year. And I think we are rebranding.
Okay.
To that slam dunk jersey. With the Toronto, the purple. I think that's what we're doing.
Okay, hold on. We have S here, who writes at Forbes.com.
Yes.
And he might have been the one. I feel like no one gave you your credit on this, but you actually wrote that whole story about it. Give us the insight, man.
Yeah, I would wager that you were probably correct.
Yeah?
This is per sources?
Yeah, the one thing I heard was before the season that there was a sort of split between should we wait until Kyle retires or should we just retire Carter's jersey? And then there was this dilemma. Now, obviously, timing is a big thing with it because Vince is going to be in the Hall of Fame this summer, most likely. And they're coming up on their 30th anniversary. Kyle seems like he's probably still going to play, most likely, right? Unless he miraculously calls it quits this summer. It's probably going to be Vince. And then when it comes to the jersey and rebrand change, I think that's been in the works for some time.
So it's purple. Purple coming back.
I'd hope for that. I'm not going to expect that because I don't know what the exact details are, but I think you're in line when it comes to the rebrand stuff.
That sounds pretty good. Okay, so emotionally for you, are you okay with that?
So this is why it's a hot take.
Yeah.
My co-host will not like me coming on air and talking about this.
Really?
But I've forgiven him.
Barry's not here, man.
Yeah, no, I know. He's listening, though. He's out there. He's going to crash his car right now, dude.
He's just driving circles right now. He's whipping donuts.
He's waiting for me outside. Yeah. I've come to terms with it. I mean, that was my first heartbreak of my life was Vince saying, I'm done. I'm not dunking. I want to be here. I'm leaving.
I'm not dunking. It's so funny.
Oh, dude, I'll never forget that. I'm not dunking anymore. Okay, man.
You remember the baby bibs?
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. So we might not have a team in this city if it wasn't for that man.
Yeah, that's so dramatic, don't you think?
You don't think so?
It's a little dramatic. I mean, I wasn't there. I was there, but I feel like enough people. It's a big city, man. No offense, it wasn't Vancouver. Let's be honest.
That is
a
fact.
Vancouver is a different case. Sorry, guys.
No, you're right. Yeah.
All right, I like that. But
I guess he's right. My question is, how did you get over that? But your co-host
Time heals all, baby.
That's 20 years ago now. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people should get over. I see it on social media.
But I only got over this 2 years ago. It took a long time. Yeah.
I guess the championship, everything,
That's what I mean.
we're okay. We've seen success. We're okay with ourselves now.
Fair.
So my only other question with this is we've had other guys wear 15. Amir Johnson wore 15. 100%. I love Amir Johnson.
You can retire multiple jerseys.
Jorge Garbajosa wore 15. I love Jorge Garbajosa. Anthony Bennett wore 15. It's like putting a ring on after other people have also participated in the whole situation. So is that a little awkward to retire to 15 after other guys have worn it already?
No, I don't think it's awkward.
Okay, all right. Cool.
I mean, he's the most famous 15. We can remember when Amir Johnson shaved the Raptors logo into his head.
Yes, I remember that.
Put that in the Raptors. Just a picture of the haircut. Put that up there.
Okay.
I say put one of Masai's suits in the Raptors.
Nice. Yo, a BlackBerry. He's got to put the BlackBerry in the Raptor.
Yeah.
Put the
BlackBerry.
Put the BlackBerry.
Bold. Yeah. I don't know what he used.
I missed that phone.
Honestly,
that was a good phone. I like the physical keyboard.
Yo, the curve. Curve was crazy.
The curve was crazy.
BlackBerry curve was.
All right, give me hot take number 2. I like the first one. This is a good one.
We'll get into this. I don't think, and I don't want problems with his father.
What?
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
I don't want any problems.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is
with his father. I don't want to get my butt kicked by a man in a fur coat. I don't want those problems. Okay, but I don't think Gary Trent Jr. is part of this future going forward.
Oh wow! I'm too attached to the situation.
I know. Well, you want hot takes, baby.
You don't want to get your butt
How
kicked
hot is it in here now?
Oh man. I mean, Ass, what do you think, man?
Oh my! Now just throwing it, deflecting.
Ooh, that's a one-touch pass right there.
Look, I think Gary's been better this year.
Sorry.
Whoa, that's crazy. That's wild.
I didn't do that, man.
Listen, I think Grady has been better. He's been improving as a shooter, making better decisions. For what it's worth, I probably agree with you, though, just because of the money situation.
Depends on how much it is.
Yeah, you can't, there's going to be the Scotty extension coming up, Quickly extension, Kelly Olynyk. The money starts adding up, and so it becomes harder to justify re-signing Gary, especially when, what else outside of the shooting really does he provide for this team?
Fashion.
And, Riz.
Gary Trent Sr. appearances on the Raptors show.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Also, Danielle Marshall stories.
Dude, I don't want to be Danielle Marshall right now, man.
He's going to be Danielle Marshall.
I am.
To be clear, it was him. All right.
Yeah,
So
it was
Nick
it was
Reynoldson.
me, Mr. Trent Sr. It was me. I apologize. It's just strictly basketball. No offense. I'll miss your son's tunnel fits.
Yeah. But the fur coats are nice, man.
Yeah, the fur coats are quite nice. I agree. He's got names for them too, and they're not all just called Gary.
Okay.
Yeah, because he did name all 4 of his sons Gary.
Yes, I saw that, which is incredible.
It is. He justified it in a way that I'm like, I'm. You're not selling me, but I get what you're buying.
I understand where you're coming from.
How did he justify it? He's like,
I actually don't even know.
I am the man, and all my kids will be reminded that I am the man.
That is, you know what? That is his general vibe.
Yeah.
I'm so scared when I talk about that man. Okay,
I apologize. I'm sorry. You wanted hot takes. That's the hottest one I got.
All right, you got one more or no?
I got one more.
All right, give me the last one.
I got one more. and this pains me a lot.
Okay.
But I don't think Darko makes the full season next year.
Whoa! Wow! Next year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a spicy one.
That's pretty spicy, man. That's pretty spicy. All right, give me the case. Give me the case.
Yeah. I think this core. I think this offseason is going to be huge. RJ is going to take him out to Caravana. They're going to party. They're going to.
You want Darko at Caravana?
Sorry, RJ is going to take the boys out.
Oh, okay. That's different.
I do want Darko at Caravana, dude.
That'd be fun.
I do want him like
as a sheer curiosity. I would also like to see.
I think he would have no shoes on for some reason. Like he seems like he's like, you know, he's getting grounded. Right? Do you know what I mean? Darko seems like that kind of dude.
His feet are touching the earth.
Yeah, he wants his feet touching the earth. Good vibes. He's always staring into the sun. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Huberman, he gets his sun in his eyes. I think, yeah. So he's gonna have a good time. But I think this core is we're further ahead than needing pizza parties and these encouragements. I think we're further ahead than what Darko's going to give us next year.
So the team's going to get too good too fast for a developmental coach, essentially. That's interesting.
Man. Next year is tough.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If you were to tell me, like, you know, in a couple of years, they've sort of outgrown him, I could see it. I could see where you're coming from. But next year, man.
I mean, it's a cutthroat business, but
yeah,
it's a little tough. He would have to do something. Like, there would have to be like a string of errors or something, you know, like missteps. I know you love Darko. You just told me before doing the show that Darko gave you a hug at the tunnel, man.
Listen, no, he was like, hey, how you doing? Hope you have a good night. And I'm like, yo, Luka.
No, you told me he came up to you and gave you a hug.
Not a hug. He was getting a little wrap around the shoulder, you know.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's different than a hug. A hug would be a nice embrace. That's a little crazy, you know. He just did a
nice
little
hand on the shoulder.
Yeah, on the chunky soup.
He seems like a very nice man.
That's why this is such a that's why this take is burning my mouth.
It's easy. It's easier for me. I'm further away from the team than you are. Like
you're right.
Darko's never put his hands on me. Right, so it's easy for me to talk about.
Well, after this, he will.
Gary Trent Sr. Yeah, I got two men coming after me, man.
we just made a lot of enemies for you, man.
Darko's a nice guy, though. Darko's a nice guy.
I don't say that because he hugs you, man.
Yeah, but I think he's a nice guy too. But we're talking about coaching.
Yeah,
right. Does your coach have to be a nice guy? I don't think Nick Nurse was that nice of a guy.
No, I mean, honestly, not really. But we have about a minute left here.
Now I'm never getting another hug. This is crazy.
Well, you're not going to hug from me either because we actually have a surprise for you. We have a clip of S playing hoops. So we could quickly run that, please, upstairs.
What? You're doing this in a minute?
So we got to narrate this. So S is in a Sun Life commercial. He is getting blocked.
That guy was on a stool.
Shooting. He missed the free throw by about 25 feet, and he had some water. Nick, I'm surprised both of you with this, really. But
Thank you.
Your reaction when you first saw this commercial, because it plays all the time during the broadcast.
Oh, I've seen the commercial before. Yeah, those look like they're 30-inch seam shorts. Actually, those are some big shorts, man.
I brought shorts.
Look
and
at the calves on the kid, man.
You're right. I do have big calves.
Big calves.
He's stepping on a stool. That's one thing I want to say. He does not.
What?
He was not that big. He was on a stool as he blocked me.
Like you're on a stool right now.
Yes.
That's how you're making Nick look tiny. Wow.
Yeah, shout out Sun Life, man. Appreciate it.
We had to play the commercial.
Of course.
Here, you know?
Yeah.
But did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun to do. It was a lot of fun to do. It was, you know, you get to shoot hoops. The thing that was exhausting is that, like, that's 12 hours of me doing takes like that.
That's 12 hours for 15 seconds?
I know.
That's how commercials work, yeah.
Wow.
Do you have the craft table, though? You took advantage of the craft table?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best. You steal snacks for later?
Yeah, oh, yeah, cookies.
That's the move.
Best cookies.
That's the move. Anytime you're on set, steal stuff. I'm going to steal something from here.
You know what? I look forward to it. There's a lot of things around here. But, Nick, I appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for
so much fun,
And
guys.
now I have to reevaluate my pants.
Well, body dysmorphia aside, we're gonna end it here today. But I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, brought to you by Campbell's new chunky spicy soup. It's time to get fired up. Make sure you find the Raptors Show where we listen to podcasts. Subscribe and please rate and review the program. Big thanks to our producers, Amit Man, our producer, Dare Bendale, Jennifer Ronda, David Sis, Jeremy to helping behind the scenes. Thanks to our guests today, Tas Melas, Danny Green, Nick Reynoldson. Go listen to Talking Raptors and all of his specials. And we'll be back to talk more Raptors tomorrow.